Never respond to strangers who write to you on social media at 2 a.m. You hear me? Better yet, don't visit it at all at that time, because something bad might happen to you, something like what happened to me. But let's start from the beginning. My name is Maxim. I am 25 years old. Like the vast majority of young people nowadays, I used to spend my bedtime on social media, watching videos of my favorite bloggers, reading Facebook posts, or chatting with friends about various topics. That night was no exception. As always, after returning from work and doing all the housework, I picked up my faithful smartphone and, lying down comfortably on the couch, began to surf the internet. I lived alone in a rented old one-room apartment where I had to move a few days ago after I got a job in the city, as the village I lived in before was 30 kilometers away, and buses ran from there at quite a long interval. I worked as a sales manager in an online sporting goods store. I earned good money, so I could afford to rent a house. So, as I said, before going to bed, I picked up my phone and logged onto Facebook and started scrolling through the newsfeed in the hope of coming across something interesting and exciting. After sitting like that for maybe 20 minutes, the number 1 in the top corner of my screen suddenly lit up on the incoming messages marker. Someone had written to me. It was already 2 a.m. on the clock. Oh, some of my friends are also up at this hour, I said to myself and opened my inbox. The message was from some stranger. Judging by the picture on her avatar, it was a girl of 18 or 20 years old, with long black hair, pale skin, and a kind of stern look, which I did not have in my friends list. Opening it, I read, "Hi, Maxim. Are you ready for meeting?" After waiting for 30 seconds and trying to remember who she was and what meeting she was talking about, I wrote back, "Do we know each other at all? What meeting are you talking about? And how do you know me?" The answer came instantly, "I know everything about you. You live at 6 Fitneva Street, 7th floor, apartment 152. At 2:30 a.m. I will ring your doorbell." Her message made me confused. What? How does she know all this? I thought. Then I wrote to her, "Is this a joke? Okay, tell me who you are. Maybe one of my friends created a fake page. Am I right?" She immediately replied, "You'll find out soon." At 2:30 a.m., she logged out. This is 100% Sasha playing a prank on me. It's his style, I said to myself, and decided, despite the late hour, to call my prankster friend who likes this kind of pranks. After listening to the phone speaker for about 10 seconds, Sasha answered my call and said in a sleepy, disgruntled voice, "Max, you have nothing to do in the middle of the night. What do you want?" "It's you who has nothing to do," I replied. "Are you trying to play a trick on me on Facebook?" "I know it's you, so don't pretend." What are you talking about? What kind of pranks? Dude, didn't you smoke anything before bed?" My friend replied in a surprised tone. "Didn't you just write to me from a fake page, saying that you know where I live and would ring my doorbell at 2:30 a.m.? No, I was sleeping, not bothering anyone, and here you are calling me with harassment. But you know, it's a cool idea. I'll have to play a prank on someone like that." "Who is it then?" "Okay, Sasha, sorry to wake you up." "It's okay. You'll tell me tomorrow if you find out who it is. Bye." I ended the conversation and looked at my watch. It was 2:22 a.m. Okay, enough, I have to go to bed. I put the phone on the table and went to bed to plunge into the magical world of dreams. But before I could even close my eyes properly, the loud sound of the doorbell interrupted the night silence in the apartment, and I was already awake. "What the hell does anyone want at this hour?" I said angrily, getting up from the couch. I quickly picked up my phone and, unlocking the display, looked at the clock. It was 2:30 a.m. It couldn't be. That stranger from Facebook had written that she would ring my doorbell at that time. What the hell is this? I stole up to the front door and looked through the peephole. What I saw there made the hairs on my body stand up. On the other side of the door, in the dim light of the light bulb in the hallway, I could see the girl who had sent me the message. She looked like a fucking character from some horror movie, long, tousled black hair and pale, bluish skin. She was barefoot and dressed in a white dress stained with red and black spots. As soon as I could see her, she spoke to me.
"Open the door quickly, Maxim. Don't keep me waiting."
I shuddered at the voice she used. A human being cannot talk like that. I wanted to ask her what she wanted from me, but fear was so strong that I couldn't even say a word. After waiting for a moment, this evil person came close to my door and started banging his head against it so hard that it shook from the impact. In a fit of panic, I locked myself in the bathroom and began to shake with fear, as if I had a fever. After the next blow, I heard the door of someone's apartment open in the corridor, and I heard the familiar voice of my neighbor, Roman Andriovich, a 60-year-old lover of strong alcohol drinks who lived alone in the apartment next door after his wife's death. "Who the hell are you? What are you doing here in the middle of the night?" he shouted angrily at her. I quietly came out of the bathroom and looked through the peephole of the door, hoping that this creature would leave. Hearing my neighbor's voice, she jumped over to him, grabbed him by the neck with one hand, and lifting him above her like something incredibly light. Even though he weighed 3 times more as she did, broke his neck with one movement of her hand, and threw his body about 5 meters into the corridor. After that, she headed back to my door. My legs just gave out from what I saw, and I fell to the floor.
"Let me in,"
the woman kept repeating, banging on my door harder and harder. I picked up the phone and locked myself in the bathroom again and called the police, just begging them to come as soon as possible. As soon as I finished the call, I started receiving text messages on my phone, one after another, with the text,
"You bastard. The cops won't save you."
I hid in a corner and just prayed. Time was passing too long. The front door finally broke down. The creature entered the apartment and, leaning against the bathroom door, spoke, but in a normal voice. "Maxim, let me in. It won't hurt you." "Leave me alone," I shouted at her. She got angry and started pounding on the door. I, unable to withstand such an influx of shock, simply fainted. A policeman brought me to my senses by holding a piece of cotton wool with ammonia under my nose. I didn't realize what was happening at first. After I recovered a bit, I told them in detail about everything that had happened to me and showed them my incoming messages from Facebook and my phone. I was also told that there had already been several similar complaints to the police from other residents of the building. All of the victims also received messages on social media first, and then at the same time, they tried to break into their apartments. Unfortunately, there were also fatal cases when the police did not have time to arrive before this demonic entity, having made its way into the apartment, committed brutal murders of the poor people who lived there. It cut out their eyes and internal organs and left inscriptions on the walls made of the blood of its victims. "I will kill everyone who lives here." The police warned the residents of the house about the killer, but I, who had just arrived here a few days ago, did not know about it. And I was extremely lucky that that evil creature did not have time to get to me. I was very interested in the question of why these terrible things happened to this particular house. And from one of the local residents, I managed to find out about a legend related to a sick girl who once lived here and who was constantly bullied by other teenagers who lived here, teased her, called mentally retarded, and even beaten her. The girl died of a nervous breakdown after one of these incidents, and before she died, she vowed to take everyone who lived in the house with her. And now she is fulfilling her promise, having turned into some kind of terrible evil after her death. And no one can stop her. When I learned about this, I decided to get away from here as soon as possible. But I can't forget what happened to me. That girl comes to me in terrible dreams, promising to get to me. I stopped visiting social media a long time ago because I'm afraid she will write to me again and come back to finish what she couldn't do then.